It's Sunday. You know what that means. We know what April 7th means. I'm letting you think about it. Time up. Everyone knows April 7th is WrestleMania Sunday. That's right. Tonight, live from East Rutherford, New Jersey at the MetLife Stadium, WrestleMania 29. And I want to give a shout out to everyone that's there in attendance. People that have watched this YouTube channel, people that haven't watched this YouTube channel, and especially three really awesome people. Jeff and Harmony Jackson. They are representing the SNS Radio Network, as well as my good buddy Scarlett representing touringplans.com. So all of you are in attendance tonight, and I hope you enjoy the shows. I hope you enjoy the festivities over this weekend, and I hope to hear from you guys in the near future, especially Scarlett. You have a small suitcase with my name on it, if you know what I mean. So, and you do know what I mean. Obviously, that's an inside joke to me and you. Believe in the Scarlet, right? So, if we don't see Randy Orton on the show tonight, you know where he is. So, here's the thing. Given the fact that it's Sunday, we're going to talk AJ's weekend movie reviews in just a few minutes, but before that, I want to just get some things out of the way. I hope you guys enjoyed the WrestleMania video I shot for last night. It's just kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. I just decided just out of nowhere to shoot that video, and ended up talking almost an hour. So, hopefully you'll watch it. Hopefully it'll get you to watch some matches you probably didn't think about watching. And even though the matches I picked were my concrete list, I did list a few matches that I liked as well, that if I wasn't picking those matches, that's what I would choose. So, go watch those matches if you get a chance to before this WrestleMania festivities start at 6 o'clock tonight for the pre-show on YouTube. So check that out and broaden your WrestleMania horizons, folks. If you haven't seen these matches ever, or if you haven't seen them in a cup of coffee, then obviously just go do it. So it's WrestleMania Sunday, guys. It's all about wrestling this weekend. So, like I said, it is the most important sporting event in the world. I don't give a damn about the World Series. I don't care about the Final Four. I don't care about the Stanley Cup. I don't care about the Daytona 500. I don't care about any of those other sporting events. This is the big one. I don't care, obviously I don't care about the Super Bowl because I absolutely hate football, but you guys know that. So here's the thing. Given the fact that it is Sunday, of course we know what that means. It's time for AJ's weekend movie reviews. And this week AJ reviewed 4 movies. You have Evil Dead and the reboot of Evil Dead. You also have Room 237, the documentary based upon The Shining, as well as Welcome to the Punch. And we're going to cap it off with Tyler Perry's new film, if you want to call it that, Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor. So, as usual, these are AJ's opinions. These are only AJ's opinions. I may agree, I may disagree. Especially with this review today. I do want to state right off the top, this has no bearing on anything that may or may not have happened in real life. I'm actually just going to say this verbatim. And I may look like a hypocrite in what I'm saying, but this is not me saying this. This is AJ saying this. So I'm just going to lay that out on the line. And obviously, before we get started, I want to talk about something else. I got an interesting phone call last night, which I didn't get because I got the voicemail this morning. I just kind of passed out last night, watched the Disney Channel like I normally do. And Jock Sampson called me, and he said he wanted to be a guest on the YouTube channel. So, you know what? We're going to work that out for the near future. So, Jock will be coming here. We're just going to chat for a while, talk about an hour or something like that. And not necessarily an interview, but we're just going to have a little chat session back and forth, so obviously that one would be not safe for work, but that's how it works though. But Jock coming to the YouTube channel in the near future, so everybody that has found this YouTube channel because of anyone, thank you for watching it, I appreciate it, and of course AJ appreciates the fact that you're watching his movie reviews. Basically, it's all about getting his opinions out and getting the opinions out so it can make you a more informed viewer, make you not necessarily just watch what the robot in front of you watches. Make you not necessarily watch what your LCD goof best friend that you won't talk about outside of when you guys are just together will watch. It's basically letting you see movies that you probably wouldn't have seen in the first place, unless you were informed about what they were actually about. Now, we've blown a lot of spots on this channel. We have basically given away a lot of plot points that were not given away, and even the trailer does that nowadays. I'm looking at you, the call. So, hopefully, if you watch the video and you like the movie, go out and watch it. I don't care how you watch it, just go out and watch it. Give some money to these films. If you're able to see them, go watch them, because most of the time, they're really good, and they're really overlooked. So, that's basically what I'm going to end on before we start AJ's Weekend Movie Reviews. And as I walk through the house at this point, we are going to firstly talk about Evil Dead. As we walk. Excuse me. Alright. This remake, if you want to call it that, considering the latest rumor, is that Sam Raimi wants to continue to make sequels to this movie, plus his own Army of Darkness, and eventually have these two worlds collide. It has been pretty much critically praised across the board, and audiences everywhere, excuse me, are really digging it, hailing it the Citizen Kane of modern horror movies. I suppose one should take that with a grain of salt. In 2009, Drag Me to Hell was supposedly the Citizen Kane of modern horror movies. Then in 2012, The Cabin in the Woods was supposedly the Citizen Kane of modern horror movies. I'm increasingly realizing how easy it is to please the horror fan base. However, every genre has their passionate fan base, so let's not attack anybody. Speaking of attacking people, we open on a jarring scene set in a very atmospheric fog where a lone teenage girl wanders aimlessly through the woods before being picked up and hauled off by scary rednecks. Now, we soon learn that the rednecks are not what we're supposed to be afraid of. After being tied to a post in a basement, the girl reveals the demon inside her and is put to a swift, gruesome end by her father's hand. Now, once we see our title revealed in big red letters covered in black vines, we get a sweeping upside-down shot of the endless trees as we pan down to a lone road. Roque Banos' effective score on the soundtrack. It is there that we meet David, which is Shiloh Fernandez. His might as well be mute girlfriend Natalie, Elizabeth Blackmore, registered nurse Olivia, Jessica Lucas, and childhood friend Eric, Lou Taylor Pucci, famous for Mike Mills' indie masterpiece, Thumbsucker. Now, they have all gathered together for the first time in years to help David's drug-addicted sister, Mia, Jane Levy, the adorable redhead from ABC's Suburgatory, go through a brutal detox as she goes cold turkey after dramatically dropping the last of her stash down a well. Now, when they discover a blood-covered cellar door, they journey to the basement to find, among other things, disturbing things, a book. Now, when Eric foolishly reads the chant that panicked notes left in the book so obviously told him not to read, he unleashes something that turns Mia into something unimaginably monstrous. This leads to blood, gore, severed limbs, prolonged shots of exposed bone and muscle, projectile vomiting, dead animals, loud noises, and pretty much anything else that isn't sugar, spice, and everything nice. Now, we know from the get-go this is not setting out to be the gory cheese fest that was the original Evil Dead movies. This one was meant to go the straight horror route. When you look back on it, that's not too surprising. Cheesy or not, the original Evil Dead from 1981 is a disgusting, unsettling gore extravaganza, even earning an NC-17 just for the gore factor alone. However, there was something about it that was fun. You know those movies where it's so off the wall and over the top, and when someone dies, you cringe and look away, but then you can have a good laugh at yourself and with your friends. This remake is not that kind of movie. There's some over-the-top stuff here, like a scene impossible to unsee when Mia vomits a geyser of blood and bile right into Olivia's face, or characters that bleed profusely for hours and not die. But most of it is actually disgustingly realistic, thanks to a detailed special effects and spine-tingling sound effects. I'm still shuddering thinking about that high-pitched screeching sound as Mia's kneecap being sawed with a machete. Also, good luck holding your lunch down when the possessed Mia splits her tongue in half like a lizard by licking a box cutter. It's an incredibly unpleasant movie from beginning to end, offering little to no humor in between its love fest with death and dismemberment. And see, that's the part I don't get. This is being hailed by critics and audiences everywhere, yet it's exactly the kind of movies that a lot of those people hate. I'm really not sure what this movie does that is convincingly new or fresh. Characters still do illogical things. Cars still only work when it's convenient for the plot for them not to. It's still the wall-to-wall gore that everyone bashes the Saw and Hostel movies for, setting the standard for. Somehow, by simply glancing over a totally ineligible book, there are a few scenes that could have had a familiar na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na, or, in this case, na-na-na-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na-na, with Eric explains it all on the screen. There's also a scene involving Eric finding Olivia in the bathroom after she cut off her own face and attacks him just as the light decides to flicker on and off over and over and over. If you're prone to seizures, leave the theater immediately as soon as the scene starts. Now, having said all that, there are still some things that I liked. Jane Levy is an incredible talent and gives an amazing selfless performance, putting herself through all kinds of emotions, makeup, and horrifying situations. She even stated in an interview that after the machete scene was filmed, she went to her trailer for the rest of the day and cried. She is doubly effective as both the scared, angry, misunderstood Mia, as well as the crazed, demonic creature that takes over Mia's body. After the trailer, I would have sworn they hired a different actress as the demon Mia. There's a bit of a slip-up where after a horrific arm-severing via electric knife that the camera never shies away from, there is a shot of the demonic Mia sitting on the cellar stairs, giggling with glee. Though this was supposed to be scary, I caught myself thinking, wow, even covered in blood and in that hideous makeup, Jane Levy is still so cute. Now, Lou Taylor Pucci is also very good as Eric, easily the most believable and least stereotypical character after Mia. There is also an impressively balls-to-the-wall ending that literally ends with everything, and I do mean everything, covered in blood. Once the final showdown commences, you'll slowly start to realize, I'm not sure what the hell's going on, but I have never seen so much blood in my life. I don't know if this quite surpasses Peter Jackson's legendary bloodbath Dead Alive in the gore department, but it's the closest we've gotten in quite some time. And yes, expect a chainsaw. Now everyone is asking the same question. Is there a Bruce Campbell cameo? Does Bruce Campbell pop up anywhere? Well, I hear there's a scene after the credits. Is Bruce Campbell involved in that? Well, if you don't want to know the answer, you can mute now. Okay, you've had enough time to mute. If you do want to know, here it is. It was not what I was expecting or what I was told. I was under the impression this post-credit scene was the armless Mia being picked up by a trucker, yes, played by Bruce Campbell, who was going to take her to a hospital where it is revealed she is still possessed. I hated that, and I was glad to hear it was filmed, but it was scrapped. The real scene is, which of course can be found on YouTube as of right now, unless they've yanked it at this point. As the credits are ending, we hear audio from the original film. Once the credits end, we simply see Bruce Campbell sitting in an unknown place, his face surrounded by black, as if he just watched the whole movie happen. He then says his trademark, groovy, and smiles at the camera. Horror fans everywhere, you now have permission to change your pants. Whew. I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't been looking forward to this. Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor. You know it's time for a Tyler Perry movie when you see all the familiar credits. Now this may not be as bad as something like Why Did I Get Married, where the credits actually read, Tyler Perry Studios presents a Tyler Perry production of a Tyler Perry film starring Tyler Perry. But he still loves making his name look important. There's just something that rubs me the wrong way about a producer, writer, director who has a handful of producers working on his movie who are all credited together. That is, except he is not credited with them. Why, do you ask? So we can have the self-indulgent final credit blatantly reading, written, produced, directed by Tyler Perry. Well, jackass, if that were true, it would read, written, produced partially with 5 other people, and directed by Tyler Perry. But I've spent enough time on this one complaint, so let's move on. The movie opens on a tightly knit marriage counselor talking to a generic white couple with the same old problems every marriage has. But when the guy leaves the room, surprisingly calm for being mad enough to leave the room, the counselor feels the need to tell her a story about a married couple she once knew. Okay, let me just throw this out there. You all aren't completely stupid, right? Okay, then I'm just gonna go ahead and blurt out that the marriage counselor is actually the woman the whole movie is about. Now you're saying, well, duh, we already knew that. Well, I thought so, but I just thought I'd make sure you knew. Seeing how the last moments of the movie played this off as a surprise reveal, I'm pretty sure Perry didn't expect us to have figured out. But anyway, the story within a story is about Judith, Journey Smollett-Bell, the little black girl that made fun of Robin Williams for being bald and Jack. A married woman who wants more out of her life, which is a want that only intensifies when she does business with Harley, which is Robbie Jones, a filthy rich, suave guy that she's seen out running in the same area as her. Of course, the more Harley excites her, the more boring her loyal husband seems. And that is where this movie's biggest problem lies. The husband, Bryce, which is Lance Gross, is far and away the most likable character in this movie. Sure, he may be a little boring and predictable, but he loves her, and he is loyal, and when he messes up, he is sincerely sorry, and does what he can do to make up for his mistakes. There is one funny, if odd, scene where he throws on nothing but his boxer shorts and a guitar in an attempt to cheer her up. Of course, the trouble with this scene falls with Perry, where his song of choice is Try a Little Tenderness, and it feels like a scene lifted directly from Pretty in Pink, just with less clothing involved. There is also an admittedly funny scene where Judith attempts to seductively ravage him as he's trying to eat a sandwich, which doesn't end very sexily. So by that description, Bryce seems like a nice guy, right? Did I mention he's also a pretty successful pharmacist? Well, let's talk about that other guy, Harley. The guy that is supposedly so much better than Bryce. Now, first off, Harley comes off very strongly, despite knowing that Judith is married. There is a scene that is about as subtle as a shotgun to the face, where, while out running together, Judith is run into by a bicyclist, which Harley then immediately threatens to beat to death. If you're willing to let that go, then we have a scene shortly where Harley briefly meets Bryce, and treats him like an enemy simply because he exists. If that's not enough, take the scene that any normal person would find creepy as hell, where they are working one day. Harley, without the slightest hesitation, asks her for deep, personal details about her and Bryce's sex life. And she actually answers him. I'm pretty sure most women in that scenario would make sure this is a person they never saw again. However, everything finally goes down the toilet when she fully succumbs to Harley's charm, which then causes her to become a reckless party girl that is smitten with Harley and loathes Bryce. She then becomes so unlikable the rest of the movie is difficult to watch. I suppose someone defending the movie could say this makes Perry's writing effective. Well, someone who knows how to tell a good story doesn't take the character you're rooting for and give him a soul-scarring emotional beating for the course of the movie and show no mercy on the poor guy until the last 5 minutes. There's also plenty of side characters that don't help your enjoyment of the film whatsoever. These abysmal characters include Judith's friend, you can call her that, Ava, played by Kim Kardashian, whose acting is about as bad as you'd expect, saying her lines as if she read them for the first time seconds before the cameras rolled. Excuse me. Judith's boss Janice, Vanessa Williams, sporting a dreadful French accent, which, as annoying as it is, does come to an admittedly funny punchline. There's also the unfunny old woman who works with Bryce, who is there to be the side character that says, "Hey, I'm an old woman and I've got quips that are funny because they're being said by an old woman." Now, there's also the embarrassing character of Judith's religious nut of a mother, and lastly, Melinda, Brandy Norwood, whose character arc involves a twist that is revealed in the movie's last 10 minutes, despite the fact that you know what it is as soon as she gave you the first clue 1 hour prior. There was even a scene in the middle that I assumed was the reveal because it was so painfully obvious, but sure enough, they do a spell-it-out reveal at the very end that gets the dramatic music and the frantic running around, and so on. Now, despite all the negativity I have towards this movie, I can give it one big compliment. It's not as bad as Perry's most other movies. And it probably isn't as bad as you're expecting. However, being a Tyler Perry movie is still better than Tyler Perry movies is actually like saying, at least Police Academy 5 is better than Police Academy 4. It actually does have moments of sincerity, and Lance Gross is excellent as Bryce, but mostly everything about this movie is ugly. And most of the people in it are so unbearable to watch and so repulsively cruel and unlikable, it's really hard to take. Maybe next time, Perry. Maybe next time. You're slowly getting there. Just remember next time you have a bunch of other producers. Sorry, my sinuses today. Room 237. You know what's funny? Room 237 is a critically acclaimed documentary that started off at the 2012 Sundance Film Festival and blossomed to go on to many more film festivals around the world that is about a group of people gathered around together to analyze and dissect Stanley Kubrick's iconic 1980s horror movie, The Shining. Now, the funny part is that it would probably take an equal amount of analyzing and dissecting this movie to be able to understand what it is. Who are these people we hear narrating their different theories and interpretations of the movie? I understand that film is an art, plain and simple. And with art, people can interpret it any way they please. Even if the artist wasn't going for it, the viewer can see anything their mind wants to. However, about 90% of this examination is beyond ridiculous and really grasping at straws, as some of the interviewees even admit to. Nevertheless, there are some intriguing things scattered here and there. Most notably is a cool sequence where they take the movie and play it both forward and in reverse, simultaneously on top of each other. And the way some scenes line up with each other is incredibly eerie. Some of the scenes that play over each other are Jack flailing around the maze like a madman over top of the calm scene of him being interviewed, like it's showing the madness that lurks underneath him. The scene where the camera lingers on the typewriter lines up with Wendy discovering what Jack has been writing, and a scene of Jack standing silently in the bathroom with a crazy look on his face lines up with a shot of the murdered twins' bloody bodies. There is also an interesting observation which involves the fact that during the interview, Ullman's office has a window right behind his desk, letting a blinding sun in, yet a full layout of the building will show you that that window can't possibly exist, given the placement of the office in the building. Continuity error, or hidden creepy effect. Now there's also a fairly reasonable point about the sticker of Dopey from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on Danny's bedroom wall. I also commend a scene that gives a legitimately freaky theory on the opening overhead shot. Now, as good as that sounds, the movie is far more filled with the ridiculous, laughably idiotic stuff. Two of the big ones are the interviewees that go on and on about how The Shining is about the Native American Indians and or the Holocaust. The Holocaust one especially stretches when their main points involve the presence of the number 42, and the fact that Jack uses a German typewriter. One of the biggest theories is the idea that Kubrick was supposed to fake the Apollo 11 landing and was sworn to secrecy, so he hid clues throughout the movie to let everyone know about it. Listen to this. Though it is interesting to observe that Danny does indeed wear a sweater with the Apollo 11 shuttle knitted on it, this theory grows more and more absurd with each clue. This person thinks that Kubrick changed the number of the room from 217, as it is in the book, to 237 because A, the moon is approximately 237,000 miles from the Earth, and B, the key reads room number 237 with the NO for number. The significance of this, they claim, room no use the same letters as moon room. Yep. A lot of the theories, it didn't even make sense. Like they would talk about scenes in the lobby that seemed like they were about to make a point, then they go into rambling and you have no idea what they were talking about. There's also an embarrassing one about the sky in the opening shot. Now this one, it's built up for quite some time, with the guy saying, now this one is really interesting. Are you ready for this? For this one, you have to know what Kubrick looked like during the filming. And they show us an on-set photo of Kubrick. Okay, here it comes. You ready? In this shot, if you look really, really hard, pay very close attention, you can see Kubrick's face in the clouds. Ha! And they proceed to show us the shot for a very long time, and they point out where it is. I don't know about anybody else, but I didn't see a damn thing. There's also a neat idea where the interviewees are talking, and they show us clips from other Kubrick movies that kind of mirror what's going on. Like when an interviewer talks about having seen The Shining, we see a movie theater scene where a guy talks about having walked home after seeing it. He felt frustrated, and he's narrating over a scene from Eyes Wide Shut where an irate Cruz walks down the sidewalk. However, this gimmick grows old after a while. Most of it starts to get boring the more you realize how full of it a lot of these people really are. It felt like a parody of conspiracy theorists, particularly the way a lot of them pause and frequently say, like they're making stuff as they go along. I was hoping to get some very interesting insights in this movie from people who really studied it. It's just the people who obsess over it for all the wrong reasons. A magnificently wasted opportunity. Welcome to The Punch. 2009, writer-director Aaron Creevy brought us the independent bore Shifty, a movie grounded in gritty reality about the life and times of a crack dealer. Creevy reaches much higher as he dives into this so-called heist movie that walks a fine line between being inspired story-wise by Michael Mann and style-wise by Nicholas Winding Refn, and literally lifting stuff directly from their work. This is a highly stylized British action movie in an ever-increasing era of stylized British action movies, and sadly nothing about it really stands out. Just last year, we had The Sweeney, starring Ray Winstone and Homeland's Damian Lewis, in which this movie's tone and essence feels too close for comfort. And also last year was Ben Drew's very impressive Ill Manners, which was more in the crime drama department than action, but nevertheless, it has that creative style most movies today crave to have and just can't achieve. The movie opens on a gripping heist chase sequence involving the culprit Jake Sternwood, played by Mark Strong, being pursued by a cop, Max Lewinsky, James McAvoy. This heist ends with Sternwood shooting Lewinsky in the leg and leaving him almost crippled. Now, 3 years later, Sternwood's son is involved in a heist gone wrong and gets himself shot and hospitalized. Now, before being admitted to the hospital, he calls his dad for help. Now, word of this finds its way to the now bitter and vengeful Lewinsky, who plans to use this as an opportunity to catch Sternwood once and for all. However, it turns out there is more than this story than meets the eye. And in a development I'm sure you could see coming by just reading the plot synopsis, we come across some highly unlikely coincidences and contrived developments that will force these two to come together to stop a common enemy. Now the performances, they're also a bit disappointing. Though they've been garnering acclaim for this movie, both McAvoy and Strong just didn't do it for me. McAvoy is miscast, and I never bought him as a tough cop with a vendetta. His performance seemed very mannered and rehearsed, which I feel weird saying as McAvoy is an exceptional actor. Here, not so much. Strong, he has shown that he can bring it, but here there was just too much that rang false. It was like the whole performance was here to say, the movie is portraying me as the villain, but you'll notice I am one of those sympathetic antagonists, and if you couldn't already tell, I'm going to walk around the whole movie with my stoic sad face. Now, there are some decent performances sprinkled throughout it, though. Andrea Riseborough as McAvoy's partner that seems to attempt to keep him in control is good. That attempts to keep him in control is good. Peter Mullen has a good supporting role as Strong's ally, and David Morrissey isn't bad either. Now, the action scenes are okay. Excuse me. Okay. There is a chase sequence or two that is effective enough, but it a lot of it consists of the age-old cliche of good guys and bad guys firing guns at each other over and over again with no sense of aim, as if they aren't even trying to hit anything. This would include a shootout that has an actually pretty intense build-up involving veteran Brit actress Ruth Sheen in an odd cameo being held at gunpoint, only for it to end in hilariously bad slow motion. One of the big problems I couldn't get past was the fact that it's almost like Aaron Creevy has read a lot of critic reviews, and as you know, critics are always complaining that a movie's characters don't have enough depth, or there's not enough reason to care about them, or they need to be more than two-dimensional. This is all true, but I think he tried to overly compensate for that by giving you constant reason to feel sorry for them, and I feel bad for them. But that just only cranks up the melodrama to an almost eye-rolling degree. It doesn't help that the movie itself is very uninvolving. Sure, a shot to the leg would make anyone hate a man, but McAvoy's vendetta feels so forced. He will literally do anything to stop Strong, but we hardly ever get a glimpse into his motivations. He just was there to pull a gun when he can, grit his teeth, and get angry whenever Strong gets away. I really didn't care whether he caught Strong or not, and especially didn't care once they had to team up. And don't even get me started on the fact it's basically a message for the commentary. And don't even get me started on the fact that its basic message is a commentary on the gun control issue in the United Kingdom. So, basically, those are AJ's weekend movie reviews for the week. So, hopefully you enjoyed them. And next week, we are going to be talking about 42. And looking forward to that, because obviously I don't like baseball, but I like baseball movies, so it's going to be awesome. And Air Force Harrison looks really cool in it, so I think he'll do a great job. And unfortunately, I got to watch Scary Movie 5, but I guess that's the territory. So those are coming up next week, so you can look forward to them, as well as maybe some more movies, actually. Actually, I just found something on the internet that makes me really happy. TNA's One Night Only X Division pay-per-view extravaganza is actually is available online now, so I'm going to watch that and I'm going to review it for you guys. So I said I wanted to see the One Night Only pay-per-views. I'm actually going to be able to, so I will do that the next couple of days. You might get that review, I'm going to go with Wednesday possibly, because tomorrow we're going to talk about WrestleMania. We're going to recap the show. I'll probably have Will with me. We're going to recap that show. It's going to be awesome. And I'm also going to recap Celebrity Apprentice for tonight. So that'll be awesome. Tuesday, of course, we're going to talk about Raw, which is the first Raw of the new season of WWE for 2013. And everything starts over again, which I don't know if it will, because a lot of those people will still be around, given the fact that most of them are working Extreme Rules. So they got that to look forward to as well. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and go out and watch some movies, guys. Honestly, just go out and get out of your comfort zone for a little bit and go watch some films you wouldn't normally watch. So, like I said, I'm going to get off here, and I got to get ready because Will's going to be here in a couple hours, and we're going to start the day. We're going to get his house ready for the party, and then we're going to shoot a video for you guys talking all about WrestleMania 29. So, that's still to come. So, you're getting 2 videos today, so bonus time, guys. And you'll get 2 videos tomorrow. So, yeah, we're going to load this channel up with content just like I said I would. So, I'm going to get off here. And thank you for watching. If you like them, comment, say you like them. Thumbs up, you like those. You also can subscribe. Please do subscribe. Continue to watch. Like I said, I'm trying to hit 5,000 views by the time the year is over. And I think I can do that. We're at 17 subscribers. Always could use a little bit more. So, thank you again for watching. And, if you want to get a hold of me on social networking, you're more than welcome to. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney, and you also can find me on Facebook at Owen Disney. So, I'm really easy to find, guys, so if you want to get a hold of me. But, thanks again for watching. Again, I'll say it for the 3rd time. I really appreciate it, because, guys, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do these channels, because I basically would just be standing here talking to myself on an iPod Touch. So, I know I'm not doing that, and I'm very thankful for that. So, thank you again. And until tomorrow, that's all I got to say about that.